candid conversations with wedding professionals as they share their stories, insights, and tips from inside the wedding industry. We'll chat about how to be authentic and that it's okay not to be perfect or run your business like someone else's Instagram. Let's dive into the privilege it is to serve our clients and discover the talented creatives that make up our community. When we share what we know and who we are, we better serve our couples as a wedding day team, as well as each other. Simply put, be Fabo. Now here's your host, Bobbi Brinkman.
Hello, podcast listeners. Man, is it fabo to have you joining us again today. Before we get started, I just want to remind everybody that it is such an honor that you follow along with us, and I'm so thrilled that you're here. I hope that you're enjoying listening to some candid conversations and hearing other wedding pro stories. I'm very blessed that everybody's taken their time to join us. I want to remind you guys to reach out to me via text or via email. You can do that at bobbibrinkman@gmail.com. Let me know your comments, your topic highlights, anything that you want to talk about. You can reach me there. Once again, that's bobbibrinkman@gmail.com. Also, follow along on my education site on Instagram, which is bfabo. And reach out to me there about speaking, any other round tables you want to have. And you can also get more information at bobbibrinkman.com. So once again, thanks for following along here on the BFABO podcast. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcast. We'd love to have you subscribe. Don't forget to give us a review here and there to let us know that you're thumbs up or even things that we can improve. So without further ado, let's get on with the show. Once again, thanks for following along. Thanks for being Fabo listeners. Let's go to the show. Hey, listeners, thanks so much for joining back in today. I'm super excited to have Kristen Haddick here from the beautiful Alida Hotel in Savannah. And she is going to tell us how wonderful and fab it is to be working at this new amazing venue. So, Kristen, thanks for joining us today. Tell our listeners how you got into this lovely world of the wedding industry.
Hi, Bobbi. I'm so excited to be here. This is my first podcast.
Yay!
Exciting. Gosh, how did I get started? Well, you know what? I actually went to college for psychology. So
well, that helps right there. Click number one off the list.
Know how much that would come in handy when I ended up in the wedding industry.
Exactly.
But really, I had moved to Atlanta with my fiance at the time, and we had moved there for his job, and I was looking for something to do, and I just finished college, and I really had no idea what direction to go in. And this position opened up at a hotel at the time called the Palomar, which was in Atlanta, for a catering coordinator. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but I like food and beverage, so I could do it. And ended up getting that position, which sort of transpired into my whole career. And it's really crazy because that was the first of 3 hotels that I've opened. And it's been such a fun experience. But I went from being a catering coordinator to something that was then called a conference services manager, which is essentially like an event manager role. And then from that, went into catering sales. I went from that hotel to a hotel called the W in Buckhead, Atlanta. It was such a fun place to work. And that's where I moved into the director of catering role and sort of really got enveloped in the whole world. I am actually from Hilton Head, so.
Yes, we were not going to mention that you were not a UGA dog girl. We were going to let that just go.
I mean, it's right across the bridge.
Exactly.
I am not a native Savannian, but when I had my daughter, I wanted to be closer to family, so we moved back here, and there was a hotel opening in Savannah at the time called the Bryce, and I took that job as the director of catering there, and that's how I kind of came back to Savannah, and I've been here for 6 years. I just started at the Alida, almost a year ago now is when this process began for me of opening this fantastic hotel. And it has been a labor of love. And we opened the doors in October, and we are just rocking and rolling now. It's wild.
And it is, listeners, we'll get all the digits and all the places you can go see it. But when you come to Savannah, even if you are not staying here, you have to pop in for a drink and just take a look. I mean, it is stunning. it takes the Savannah hospitality to a little bit different level. It's a different look. So, you definitely have to stop there and then, of course, pop in and say hi to Kristen.
Yeah.
So Kristen, tell us a little bit on your role at the Alida and how hands-on you are to weddings. Like, how often from the start to finish, do you have something to do with it? Do you have a team? How involved in the actual wedding planning of a couple coming to the Alida are you?
Yeah, I stay really involved, actually. I have a team. I have a fantastic event manager from Kelly, so she and I really work in tandem with brides. But I'm always the first point of contact when someone reaches out to the hotel. I always am the one that's doing the site tours and talking them through the process and really selling the experience here at the Alida. Depending on when the wedding is, what's going on, either myself or Ellie will be the person to stay with the bride and groom throughout the entire process. But even if Ellie's handling it, I'm always here with her, staying involved. So our role is really, and I think this is a good thing to talk about, because I think a lot of brides and grooms, they get a little bit confused about what the hotel contact's role is. Our role is really to make sure that the promises that we're making to you when you are signing on to spend this amount of money on food and beverage are delivered the day of the event. So we're here to help you make your food and beverage selections, to help you set up your space, to make sure that you have guests staying in the hotel, they're having an awesome experience, really handling everything from a venue perspective. So I get a lot of questions from brides like, are you there? Are you our day of coordinator? No.
Right. That was going to be my next question. I was going to be like, how advanced are you on this day? What do you do on that day?
I'm not going to lie. I have become a wedding coordinator on many an occasion. And I actually really like helping out when I can and stepping into that role. And if I have a bride that does not have a wedding coordinator, I am happy to step in and help them get down the aisle and make sure everyone's where they need to be. But our focus from a hotel perspective is really making sure that the event is running the way it needs to be running. So when we do have to step into that role, it takes us away a little bit from making sure everything on the back end is going perfectly.
So when you talk to couples, Kristen, do you and Ellie both, do you offer suggestions of saying, hey, we highly suggest, this is a beautiful place. We can offer you a great experience, but to enhance your wedding experience from the getting makeup on and everything, do you guys highly suggest that they go ahead and get a full day planner to help along with that?
I am an advocate for a planner, man. I mean, I just have seen it go both ways, and I just think it takes so much stress off of the bride and groom on their wedding day to have somebody that's literally there to do the last minute things done.
Well, and I think too, I am finding, and you've been around enough now, especially at the different, venues that you've been opening, you are kind of seeing, I think, like I am, I'm noticing, especially in Savannah and these destination markets, that the couples are really, really, really focused on a full weekend. Like, they want a weekend experience for themselves and their guests. So, you guys are there. I love the fact that you mentioned you guys make sure that your guests and their guests have places to stay. They're well taken care of. Are you guys finding that when people come in, they're booking a good 3 or 4 days and then offering, things to do around town?
100%. This is a destination wedding market. I would say like 70 leads that I receive are people that don't live here, and why they're having their wedding here is that they want people to fly, have an amazing wedding weekend, experience everything that Savannah has to offer, whether it's trolley tours or ghost tours or going to the different food and beverage opportunities and all of that. So it's not, when they're having their wedding in Savannah, it is not just a wedding ceremony and reception. It's so much more than that. So a lot of logistics that I just feel like really helpful to have somebody to help you plan.
Right. And you guys have somebody there at the hotel. So like when they come in, like, as part of your job, and what you and Ellie do is when somebody comes in and they're coming in on Thursday, do you then kind of set up, well, here's what your guests could do on this day, this day, this day, and you guys can like set up like a little tour package?
So our concierge can, yes.
Perfect.
Can work with them. Basically we put you in touch with the concierge because she's got all the connections. We can make suggestions, but she makes it all happen. But yeah, we have a fantastic concierge. She can definitely help out with that.
So tell us a little bit about the food offerings that you guys have for weddings or other events, because you do other events. You don't just do weddings. I mean, I know you love weddings, but you do awful small conferences and some things like that. So, tell our listeners a little bit about, the quality of the chef that you guys have working there and some of the, one of the reasons that the food is going to set you apart when you have your wedding at the Alida.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, have you eaten in Rhett yet?
Yes.
So good. We have such a stellar culinary team here, and they all came from different restaurants in the Savannah area. And all of our catering food that we do for private events comes from that same culinary team. So there's a really chef-driven focus put on the banquets and catering food that you don't see at a lot of bigger places that, are working out of a banquet kitchen. They're working off the restaurant line to create these menus for people. So I just think I can't say enough about the food I've seen come out of the kitchen here, and not just in the restaurant, but for our special events too. I mean, it's fantastic. And as far as what we offer, I mean, pretty much everything. Certainly there's a focus on Southern, there's a focus on Americana, there's a focus on, crowd pleasers like a great charcuterie display or, an amazing shrimp and grits station, things like that. But we really like to customize for people. I mean, I want to hear, brides are getting to be very specific about the food and beverage they want at their event. Everyone's a foodie, right? So,
well, and it's another level. I mean, that's a layer. I mean, think about the emotions of a wedding, and, you have your wedding song, and you'll think about it later on, and you always go, oh man, that's my wedding song. And I know you've been at receptions where, 5 or 6 couples will get up when a certain song comes on and they're like, oh, that was my wedding song. I think food is another level. It's another sense that we use. And they're like, oh my gosh. And I do think everybody that comes to Savannah, first thing they say is, are you having shrimp and grits? So I think that's a given on every menu. But I love the fact that you said that if somebody comes to you and says, I want to do a theme, or I want to follow something, that you guys will sit down and work on a custom menu for them that really is that extra touch of an experience that you can't just get anywhere. You have to be able to go to a venue with people like you that are willing to sit down and have a conversation and really customize it. So, I mean, I think that's great.
Yeah, because we're not, we're not an Italian restaurant, or we're not, we don't specialize in one thing when you're in the catering world. It's all about creating really fun and exciting. I mean, I'm really into stations right now, so I'll use that as an example. But it's all about creating something that's special to the couple, because we have the ability to do that. We're not living and dying by our catering menu.
Exactly. So talk a little bit about what are some of the trends that you've been seeing. I know there's some new ones coming up for 2019 and 2020 that'll work their way to Savannah, but you've been in a few places. What are some of the trends that you're seeing in the food and beverage side that you like, and then some that you wish would just go away?
Well, on the food and beverage side, I think the trend right now with beverage is custom cocktails.
Yep.
People are getting so ingrained in the cocktail culture, and I think it's really cool. Did you know that 2019 is the year of the gin?
Yes. Yes.
Gin. But so I love doing custom cocktails based on what the bride and groom, what their favorite drink is. One thing we're doing this summer at the Alida that I think is so fun, and I want to incorporate into events, is boozy slushies. So we have this fantastic pool deck. It's huge. It's like 4,000 square feet with a built-in bar. And we're talking about doing a slushy cart that goes around. You can do boozy slushies. And I want to have that at a wedding so bad.
Oh my gosh. Yes. When you get that particular couple, that is going to be an amazing party. That.
And then as far as food goes, I just, like I said, I love fun stations, like a grazing table, anything pickled. I'm really into pickling right now.
I think that is something that people, I think that's what they expect. They expect something a little bit different. They want a Southern twist, but I think people are coming to our area because it is a foodie area. And I think people are challenging everybody and saying, hey, let's come up with something different. So yeah, pickling falls right in there.
People are really trying to create an experience for their guests. So I'm seeing more and more people move away from like a sit-down plated dinner into like, what are some really cool interactive stations we can do? And even if it is shrimp and grits, like what's a twist on that we can do? Could we add another fun ingredient? Make it, could put a different cheese in there or something like that, just to make it a slightly different, but still really fun.
So of all, when you're working on these events and you're in the planning process, what are some of the ways that you can manage client expectations? So if couples do come into you, and we'll talk a little bit later on, but right now at this stage, when couples are calling you and they want to come in and look around, they have to be overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. So how do you manage when you first meet them to take a tour? How do you manage their expectation of what can be done there and what cannot be done there?
Yeah, I mean, typically when a couple will first contact us, they just want, specific information. They want to know if their date's available, what your capacity is like. Our space is really unique. You've seen it, but I like to really take the time to talk through what the couple's vision is and explore if we're a good fit for them, because there's so many venue options in Savannah. It can be really daunting here, to be honest, because there are so many options. And it's not just like hotels and that do weddings here. I mean, there's beautiful venues, there's beautiful restaurants, there's so many, opportunities for them. So it's important for me to give really accurate information and a really good vision so that they can make a good decision. So it's easy for them. As far as, I think the biggest thing for me is photography and collateral that really tells the story of our hotel and what our culinary offerings are, what our event space looks like. Because like I said, it's mostly destination brides who may not even get a chance to come down to Savannah prior to their wedding to book it.
Right. They're just looking on the website right now and they're following your Instagram. And that's how it is here. I mean, sometimes I don't even meet the couple until the day of the wedding unless they're flying back in to do wedding planning. So that is the key, is that, people fall in love with the photos that you have on your website, and then they come down. And then, of course, people like you and Ellie just wrap it up because you guys are so knowledgeable and sweet and you're fabulous. So that's why they go ahead and pull that trigger. What's the hard part once you get this couple here? What's the hardest part in trying to, and I don't want to use the word convince, but what's the speed bump, say, that gets a couple from taking a tour with you and then saying yes? What do you find their struggle with?
We are not a traditional ballroom space. So I think we have to have a bride and groom that want a little bit of a different type of event. We're not going to, it's not going to be a ballroom wedding here. It's going to be more of an experience with fantastic views and fantastic food and beverage. So I think, sometimes we get a bride that she really wants that ballroom feel, and our event space is unique. It's different. So that might not be for her, but maybe she'll have her rehearsal dinner with us for a post-wedding brunch. So I feel like there's always a way to spin it. If one thing isn't perfect, you can always try and develop on another need that they have. Certainly budget plays a huge factor in whether or not people can proceed or not. So I would say that would be the other roadblock, because you just, weddings are expensive. It's expensive to have your wedding.
Well, yeah, but see, the thing is, I do want our brides and grooms that are listening in and planning is you have to go in with an open, have to go in with your head open and not your checkbook open, but go in with the exact reasons that you want to be here and explain it to you. And then when they explain this to you, you can sit down and say, hey, I can get you to this number. You might just have to lose this, and this, but I can make this look even better. And I think they don't think it's okay to ask. I think they're so trained to go, how much can I get off? Or what's my discount? That they don't know how to ask you and the people in your position, okay, Kristen, this is how much we have. what can I do for this? And how do you see with your experience that you can make that happen? And I think couples forget to ask us that we do this every weekend. This is our careers. We're not trying to be jerks. We're not trying to say, oh, you can't afford it. We're trying to help you afford it. We're trying to show you that we have options. And you and Ellie can do that, because I'm sure a lot of the times when people talk about price there, they're also trying to include how much it's going to cost to stay there. Correct?
I think I really try and be really transparent when it comes to the pricing. I mean, I think for us personally, we're new. We have a really inclusive wedding package out there right now that I think is an amazing deal. And so I haven't gotten a ton of pushback on pricing. And we have different, but yes, to what you're saying, there's always different options. We have a lot of event space here. So if your budget, maybe you can't, it's not in your budget to have your wedding on the rooftop, but tell me what your budget is, and maybe let's figure out how to do it on the pool deck or in one of our other pool spaces. So yes, I think you're right. I think it would be so great if people were like, look, here's my budget. What are my options?
Exactly. If they would just, I know they read and they listen to podcasts and they read The Knot and they read, all the other places, but it boils down to that why this is our career and we're working here. We're also trying to help you because, we want you to have a great day. You and I are far happier at the end of the night when the couples come up and hug us instead of coming over and giving us a list of things that didn't happen. So, and that's open communication. So the other thing that you guys are you encouraging to do the welcome dinner and then to do our welcome party and then to do the ceremony and reception and doing a brunch? Are you seeing the couples that are booking you for this year? Are people taking advantage of all three things with you guys?
People, usually it's two of the three, I would say. Let's say three of the three, because most everyone that books a wedding here is going to have a room block involved. So there's always a room block with a wedding, typically. I have heard so many inquiries lately where they really want everything to be centralized, everyone to be together, make it a weekend. So yes, typically it is either a rehearsal dinner and a wedding, or a wedding and a post-wedding brunch. We have a fantastic rooftop bar, so we're getting a lot of requests for welcome parties there. So yes, 100% people.
Yeah, because if you want to see the city, you need to be on your rooftop. I mean, that's, if you want to show your guest what they're in for the weekend, that is just the way to do it. And it's beautiful up there. And, and it's everything about it. I can't stress enough, you gave us a great tour, and from the penthouse to, every little detail in there is great. And I love the fact that it's just a little bit different. It's not the norm. Like you said, you and I are both fans of weddings in general. Savannah does have plenty of places to choose from. And even the places that you've worked previously, they all have their special things that I love about them. And it's one of the things that I think as couples really start coming to Savannah, they're going to really start saying, I'm going to give you a Southern Charm wedding, but just wait till you get here and see what it's like. It's going to be kicked up. And I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad that you're a part of the Alida property. So, they're very smart cookies when they got you to join, let me tell you.
Yeah, it was an easy choice. The staff here is fantastic.
So let's talk about some other wedding trends that you're seeing. We talked a little bit about the food, but are you seeing anything different in ceremonies, or are you seeing things that you guys could offer that might be a little bit different that makes it totally unique to one of your Alida couples?
Yeah, we've got really cool ceremony space. We've got a rooftop terrace that's covered in cafe lighting. It's so romantic and so sweet, and just such a fun, sort of industrial backdrop for a ceremony. But in terms of trends that I'm seeing, there's so many fun trends right now. I'm obsessed with pampas grass. Have you seen? I just want someone to come here and have a wedding and just throw pampas grass literally everywhere. Another trend I'm seeing are themed weddings. So I don't know if you've been to one, but I had one last year that was like, they did like a Harry Potter theme. or just incorporating something that they're passionate about into their wedding, even if it's in a really obscure way. I had a friend get married recently, and she loves America, right? So she's like the biggest patriot out there. And she had these cool little paper flowers that had like the American flag on the inside of them everywhere. It's really hard to explain, but it was just really cool.
Well, and what I think is people sit there and go, okay, this is so her. I mean, this is exactly, why would she not have this? That's her personality. And that's what I love when couples really come in and say, hey, I want to show myself off. And when they find a space like they have at the Alida, I mean, it's a blank slate. I mean, you come in, if you feel that vibe and you're there, what you could do theme-wise is just endless.
I'm so excited to see all these weddings start to take place here and see how they transform the space in different ways.
So are you pretty booked up for 2019 and 2020? Are you going to break some hearts here by telling people you're booked solid?
Because we just opened. So, we're booking. I'm booking 2019 right now. It is crazy talking about, when people are booking for, like, I'm booking a lot of 2019 weddings still. So that's awesome. I think people are, it used to be like a 13-month out window for booking weddings in the city. And I am seeing it now 6-7 months. It's wild, but I love it. I think people are just like, I want to get married. Let's do it now.
And I think because of venues like the Alida, that's possible. I mean, you and I have been in this business long enough to know that, yes, if you didn't call one of the premium hotels that it was in a great location in Savannah, Charleston, Hilton Head, even down here in St. Simons, you're going to wait 2 years. So you might as well call, book it, and then wait 2 years to plan your wedding. Now that there's unique hotels like yours, not everybody's running to them, and which is a good thing, in my opinion. You guys understand that you're not a fit for everybody, and you're not trying to squeeze the Southern Belle into that wedding, and you're not trying to squeeze somebody who really wants an outdoor wedding into the rooftop, even though it's outdoor. So, I love the fact that this is who we are. This is what's best suited for. So I think that as people start calling, they're going to, first of all, they go, oh my gosh, it's just open. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I get there. But I think when it's a boutique venue like you guys have, people are going to I think you're going to see the short time. But don't kid yourself. When I talk to you this time next year, you're going to be saying, yeah, we're 2021 now is when people are calling, because you're going to be solid the whole time.
It's going to happen. And I'm already seeing just in the past 2, I mean, it's been pretty wild here, but, and I'm excited for it, but I'm so excited for all these weddings we have this year. I mean, we have so many fun brides and grooms that are having their event with us, and just, I love it.
Have you seen in some of those inquiries that there are some local couples that are choosing you guys?
Yeah, we do have some local couples. It differs, because a lot of younger local people I find they have like 200 people coming to their wedding, which we obviously can't fit. But the local couples that I feel like we're attracting, they want a more intimate reception. They want to have just close family and friends, or maybe it's a second marriage, or maybe it's maybe just people that want to have a really great party. So I am seeing a good bit of locals come through, and I think a lot of that too is word of mouth. I mean, right. I can't think how many people go to the Lost Square, which is our rooftop bar, and they see that we have event space on the roof, and then they call me on Monday and they're like, what is this all about? So it's exciting.
So tell you have a lot of people that listen in, and as we grow our audience here at the podcast, I really want to be open with people that may want to go into this. They want to be the next Kristen. What do you think somebody should do? I mean, and be honest. It's, people think we live a glamorous life because we eat this great food every single weekend. And you and I both know that if we get a roll tossed at us from the kitchen, it's a great on a weekend, right? So I want you to tell the listeners, what you think they should do and the track they should take if they want to end up working for a great company like you are.
Oh gosh. Well, I feel very lucky to work for this company. The company I work for is actually called Make Ready. It's started in Dallas, the Alida was the third hotel that we opened. And we've got now, we have 2 more that just opened and a couple more, maybe Charleston, coming later this year. So really exciting things happening. And I'm lucky to get in, pretty early on and be a part of it all. But I would say, just being passionate about working with other people and creating great events and making sure that that people really jive with you and that you're being really honest in yourself and building relationships, I think is a huge part of it. If you had asked me, 12, 15 years ago, this is what I'd be doing, I would be like, I don't even know what that is.
Right, exactly.
I've always loved event planning, so that wasn't really a surprise to me, but I didn't know how much I would love working with other people and becoming a part of their lives. And I think just being passionate about that has really been what's pulled me through my career and helped me, move up into the role I'm in now. It's just, I love it. I love what I do. It's so fun to come to work every day. Working in the hospitality industry is I just can't think of anything that's more fun than this experience. And opening hotels, like the camaraderie that you build with the people that you work with is so rewarding. So I think for brides and grooms, when they come to the hotel, they know we're all invested in it, right? So they can feel that from the valet people to the front desk, and then they meet me, and then we go down to the kitchen and everyone's happy. And, that really transforms itself into people wanting to have their event here with us.
Well, and I say this all the time. If you fall in love with a venue, you've probably fallen in love with the venue because of the person that gave you the tour, because your excitement, and even though you do this, sometimes 2 and 3 times a day, you still it's not a sales pitch to you, where in essence, your parent company who writes your paycheck want you to have it as a sales pitch, but they also know that you are the reason people go ahead and say yes, because you're excited. They can see that you care. And I think that's why couples say, will you be here on the day? Because they have fallen in love with you, because you have shared how much you love about the hotel. But, I can speak of this as a professional in this industry. Couples fall in love with you, but vendors love you because you care about us. You want to make sure that you set us up to have a successful day in the area that we're supposed to be there. I don't ever have to worry. And I know I speak for other people, so, you just have to listen to me give you some praise for a minute. But I know I don't have to worry about you setting me up to fail. You're going to work with the couple and say, this is why you should hire Bobbi or any other photographer. And this is why, because I think there's something about you that would mesh well with Bobbi. There's something about you. And you don't get that all the time from salespeople at hotels. They're just like, here's our list. You actually, and I've been the benefit of it, of telling individual couples, this is somebody I think your personalities mesh with. So you are such a salesperson, but you're more than a salesperson. You represent who you are in the industry, and then you're representing the Alida. And, they won't kill me for saying that, because deep down inside, they have to know that that's why you're there, because of what you know how to do. So I want couples to hear that. And I want couples that want to go into this to understand that it is not all better. How many times do you take somebody on a tour and talk not just so much about the Alida, but your whole career? How many times do you spend with people that they say no and they never come back? And you have to then go, okay, I didn't make my quota. That's a hard thing to do.
I think it's really, thank you. That was really sweet. There's a lot of vendors that people can work with in this town. That is, especially photographers. Oh my goodness. So I think just building relationships with them and people like you who I've worked with, and you are such a vibrant personality. It's really easy to identify somebody I think that's going to work well with you.
Thank you.
And there's other people, there's different florists, there's different planners where I meet a bride and groom and I'm like, who you need to meet? And I'll say, whoever it is. But it's fun. It's kind of fun to do that too. And then it's always interesting to see, after they come back and say, oh my God, I talked to Bobbi. You're right. She's like my soulmate.
Good. That is such a refreshing thing as wedding vendors, especially in the industry here, because we are dealing, we're like the tour. I mean, all of us are tour directors that day. People ask us questions when we're out doing photos, walking from your place just on Broad. People go, oh, what about that? What about that? So, Savannah's really lucky to have us in the wedding industry because we represent Savannah, and we're probably all selling Savannah more than Savannah sells itself, as the wedding industry. So it's, there's so many, and the relationships there's a lot of us, but we all get along well, and you can make a really, really good team. So we know you spend a lot of hours there. We know you spend some time. What do you do when you're getting out of the wedding world, and what excites you to get up every morning that's not work related?
Oh gosh. Well, I've got kids, so my mornings typically start pretty crazy, but it's fun. Gosh, what excites me? Coffee and wine. Coffee and wine excite me.
There you go.
No, I'm actually, honestly, I'm a morning person. I wake up really high energy and excited in the morning. But yeah, I'm passionate about my kids and making sure they have a fun lifestyle to grow up in. But I'm really passionate about this hotel, and so like coming to work is no big deal for me. Like I'm literally, people aren't gonna believe me, but I get excited just to walk into the building, and I get to see my friends. I get to hang out with fun people all day. I get to meet new people all day. I mean, I literally never have the same day twice here.
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of that too is, if you just take the wedding industry out of it, we're doing happy events. So generally people are happy until the bridezillas and the momzillas, until life gets in the way and family drama. But even there where you are, just the tourists that walk in there are just excited to be there. I mean, that is, how do you not have a smile on your face when they come and go, oh my gosh, I love the city. If you're having a really crappy day of traffic getting over there, you might go, yeah, you know what? It's not so bad. There are worse places I could live. So, but I want you to elaborate, because I know the listeners listening in, you spend your weekends away from these kids. So at what point does that work-life balance, when, I know they're getting to an age pretty soon that they're going to be like, so mom, I'm playing soccer. You're going to miss my game because you're at a wedding. How are you going to handle that, or how do you address that?
I don't even know. That's going to be tough. But you know what? That is part of this life that we've chosen, right?
Right.
I mean, for me, my work-life balance, it's all about routine for me. I mean, my home life is a very well-oiled machine because every day at work is different. So I just like to keep my mind sane. I have to have a really, really stringent weekday home routine. Otherwise, I just feel out of control and unbalanced. But on the weekends, it's all about fun when I'm at home. And then usually, like if I'm here on the weekends, if I'm working, I always try and take like a weekday off just to do something extra, either for myself, because that's important too, right?
Right.
Or to be with the kids. But I just always try and balance my time with a good combination of self-care and caring for others. And I feel like that's kind of
makes it easy. I mean, that's a good recipe to have, and that keeps it there. So are there apps, or there's technology in both your life and work that you could not live without if you didn't have one of them, that you can marry them together so you get that balance?
My boyfriend makes so much fun of me because I still have like a paper agenda.
Yep.
I'm like not ingrained in the newest century, but I honestly live and die by my planner. But gosh, apps, I wish I could say I'm like so cool and tech savvy, but I don't really use that many apps for planning purposes. I mean, I love apps. I love me some Instagram. I feel like that's been, I guess I would say, if we're talking about selling tools, Instagram is certainly the best piece of technology that's a selling tool for me. Just because brides are so visual, it's such a great marketing tool for our industry.
Are you getting DMs like on your, I know the Alida, do you get DMs of brides saying, hey, are you available on this date?
We get DMs requesting like contact information. They're actually really good. They'll go to the website and email us directly. But yeah, it's been really interesting to see. But they react, the images they react to are it's interesting to see what gets people.
Well, that's what Instagram is about, though. If people can see themselves in there, which is also dangerous too, because I always warn that, and part of the podcast intro is, don't be so busy comparing yourself to everybody else's 9 squares, because we don't know what it took to make those 9 squares. And the 9 squares could be really, really happy, but on the backside of those 9 squares, you're falling apart. So it's like with anything else. Everybody has a story, but Instagram, for us in the wedding industry, couples can see something that they want. They immediately go, I want to go there, or I want to check it out. And we wouldn't have had that a few years ago. The only way you at the boutique hotels would have been is really big paid commercials that people might have seen, or I got to inundate you with email blasts that you signed up a part of our partners. But now, once you guys started being, people have been watching you grow, break ground all the way through. So people have maybe said, hey, I'm going to have my wedding there in 2020. I've watched them from the ground up. So yes, I agree 100% that Instagram is the way to go. So before we wrap up here, anything else, any other piece of advice that somebody has given you along the way that throughout the day or every once in a while you hear that in the back of your voice, of that words of encouragement? What has anybody ever told you that you kind of stick with now?
I mean, it's going to sound kind of basic, but I guess the piece of advice that I've been given that I always try and think of is just to always do your best, right? So whatever your best is that day. Because there's days when, to be honest, my best is getting out of my pajamas.
Right.
But days when, my best is going above and beyond. So I just always try and remember and especially I guess when I'm having a moment where maybe I don't feel like doing something, or, struggling a little bit, as long as I'm doing the best that I can do in that moment, whatever that may be, then I feel okay about what's going on. So yeah, always do your best.
Exactly. No, and I love that. And again, that's one of the reasons why couples need to come and see you. Couples need to book the Alida. Remind our listeners where they can find more information about your wonderful hotel.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to our website. It's theidahotel.com. You can check out our Instagram, the Alida Hotel. You can also, we have pages on Wedding Wire and The Knot, so you can check us out there. And I'm updating those currently with all our new fabulous Fabo.
There you go.
So yeah, and then if all my contact information is on the website, our wedding packages are on there, so you can get all kinds of stuff.
Well, that is fantastic. I cannot wait to have a wedding there with y'all. I cannot wait to be another wedding with the amazing Kristen Haddick. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you have a fabulous weekend off. I know you're finally getting a weekend off, so go and enjoy that. And thanks again for listening in, everybody. I hope you will go check out this beautiful place and say I do at the Alida. Thanks so much, Kristen. We'll talk to everybody later. Have a great weekend.
For more information about today's episode, check the show notes at befabopodcast.com. Hey, while you're there, don't forget to subscribe and sign up for Monday Motivations, delivered hot to your inbox. And there'll be more. Can we say more? Till next time, be Fabo.